You can cry around your guys, like, or something, but don't cry in front of her, like,
If you cry in front of a girl, some girls can see it as relatable.
Some ladies will say, yeah, like, even though you cry close to me, like, I won't change my feelings towards you. But that's in our cap.
There are some feelings that you should reserve for the sake of the relationship.
On the woman's part, I don't think it's a good trait that, oh, you saw your guy crying and you left him. That is not a good trait. That's the sign of a bad wife. What do you think about the take that you have to be a rock or shield? You should never show your emotions, right? What do you think about that experience, or have you gone through that experience, and what is your own take? Hiding your feelings, does it work for you? What do you think, guys?
Before we start, let's just all agree that when we deal with women, we have to kind of hit different emotions to attract them. Do you guys agree with that? Like, because it's not just, let me explain. So when you approach a girl, you cannot be like, oh, the nice guy. You have to kind of be like a bit nice, a bit kind of tough, spark different emotions in her. Because if you just come across as, oh, you just spark one emotion, flirt with her in just like a sexual way, that can go really far and stuff, but then you've not really sparked other emotions. In terms of like the feelings aspects, I think you can't really control her feelings, so all you have to do is just be yourself and express yourself, but don't be too like vulnerable, if that makes sense. So would you cry in front of a girl like right now? Like if I told you to cry,
I don't have a girl, so we never know.
But if you had a girl, like would you cry like in front of her? Okay, say like one of your kids die, right? And you're crying. This is a very rush thing, but like one of your kids and you're crying, oh my daughter, like, and she's right beside you looking at you, like you're supposed to be there to hold her like when she's crying, you're supposed to be that rock, and you can cry around your guys like or something, but don't cry in front of her, like okay, you can cry, right? But then it shouldn't be over small things. It shouldn't be over really, you know what I'm saying?
I have to agree a bit with TJ, yeah? Years ago, when I'll be like talking to a girl and I'll be like showing my feelings and be like, oh, I really want this to work and shit like that, yeah? Guy, most of the time, yeah, the lady will just end up not replying or not just giving you like your attention and shit like that. It's when you're actually like nonchalant with them that they actually like respond to you. The fact of crying too is crazy, because even though like some ladies will say, yeah, like even though you cry close to me, like you won't change, I won't change my feelings towards you. But that's in our cap. It's a cap. One of my guys here, this girl liked him for 3 years, and then I don't know what she did. She started crying in front of this lady, yeah. The lady instantly got like the freaking, I don't know, they call it the ick, yeah. She got the ick and literally stopped liking this guy. Like out of nowhere. It's like, some of them are just like weird. And I feel like it depends on the girl too.
In my 22 now years of my life, I have actually never seen my dad cry. It actually helps with the kids. This is a completely different thing, with family and all. I don't know if he has cried in front of my mom before. I am going to guess he hasn't. But at the same time, there are some things that happen in the room that I'm not privy to. If I see my dad crying ever, I know that something is wrong. And I think that's one superpower that we men have, I guess. That
women?
We went.
Bro, women. Okay.
We man, calm down, bro. I know you're on your shit, but it's one characteristic that we have that like a superpower.
I don't think that we should be nonchalant as guys, because typically nonchalance attracts a certain kind of woman, and I'm going to get into that like later on. I also don't think that people should be excessively emotional. I think that as guys, you need to be able to process your emotions properly, and you need to find ways to handle and actually solve them, as opposed to either bottling them in or just instinctively letting them out. Because the thing is, from what I've seen, people see men who are too emotionally expressive as very needy. But then at the same time, on the flip side, people see, or there are kinds of men who are just very carefree about what happens to them in their lives, and they just end up coming off as very odd, because on one hand, it's obvious that you're going through something which should be impacting you in one way or the other. But on the other hand, you're not responding appropriately.
I feel like if you cry in front of a girl, you can utilize it in a way that it can come out as like, some girls can see it as relatable. Some girls can feel like safe by you crying in front of her. Personally, I cried in front of a girl literally last week, and
up to date, fresh information.
And I was, and see, the thing is, like, sometimes I'm not even sad, but I know.
So what are you crying about? Like, what did you cry about?
Okay, so the thing is, right? So the thing is, like, with this girl specifically, what happened was like she's someone who like really wants to enter a relationship and stuff, and personally, I don't. I don't want to enter a relationship with. Wait, is this going on YouTube?
We are live on YouTube.
Mad.
We are
That's your life.
But you know,
Wonderful.
we would have appreciated seeing your face. You know, would have been, you'd have sent a message.
I'm so happy I'm not showing my face.
Wow.
It's fine.
So you're not proud of it? Is that what you're saying?
No.
Guys hiding his
So, I mean,
You're not proud of
the
it.
point is that like me crying in front of her, I wasn't particularly sad about anything, but it was just like the way the conversation was going. You know, we're having a very solemn conversation, and it was a very deep conversation. And I know that in that particular moment, you know, if I show some tears, she will take me more seriously. In that particular moment, if I show some tears, it will show like the genuineness of what I'm looking for. You know,
realistics.
exactly. It's kind of like me telling you like, oh, I really, really love you, but this is just not a good time for me to enter a serious relationship, and I wish you could, you know, like see inside my head so you know how much I love you, and I'm trying to sell that, right? I'm trying to sell that. So like dropping a tear or two in that moment. I'm just being honest with you guys, right? Dropping a tear or two in that moment is just like the best possible outcome. You know, she believes you wholeheartedly. You know, she probably already believes you, but like seeing that tear, you know, like when she goes back to her girls and her DM, she's like, oh my God, you know, he cried, he meant it, you know? And I don't. What I do, it doesn't matter. But like the point is that like if the conversation is crying in front of a girl, showing emotion, doesn't let you hit, or what was it? It doesn't let you pursue like the girl properly.
I feel like the girl.
It depends on how you use it. Basically, like it's. I feel like it can be utilized in a way that you know it lets you keep the girl, you know, but obviously it doesn't work in every scenario. If you start crying in front of like every single girl, every single like type of girl, you know, you'll get very different reactions. Exactly. So you need to know like when to use it, when not to use it. But I feel like, you know, if you utilize it properly, you know, it's like game is game basically. Like it works out perfectly for you.
All right.
Everyone's laughing, but you guys all know.
No. Well said. It's a nice perspective actually, and it can be funny too. But you know, you made a good point.
I've been on both ends of the stick. Like I've actually like unfortunately cried in front of a baby for once.
Unfortunately.
And that would be unfortunately. And why I said unfortunately was because it was COVID, like things and stuff were going hard for me. I just kind of like just broke down. Just something similar to what happened to Rafael. Will I do it today? No. And part of the reasons why is because of like the background I have now. Like for example, I box. There's nothing harder that will ever come to me versus like getting punched repetitively. And like you just have to stay there and defend yourself. I'm not going to be preemptive to go and cry in front of a babe. But like did the dynamic of the relationship change at that moment? No, actually.
Okay.
And I think part of the reason was because the babe actually had respect for me.
After seeing you cry.
So like not even
Exactly. So that was like a prerequisite, like, you know.
Yeah, like it's not like I ever disrespected the baby. It just happened to be that just stuff is not really going well for me. And like, you know, she kind of saw it and like, you know, it didn't work out between the two of us. And part of the reason why it didn't really work out was because like the person I was with her was no longer the person I became. I mean, I'm a software. For example, like I'm a software engineer in like America right now. Even though I'm still in school, I have jobs. It's not like the woman would have just been like, okay, you cried, you're a pussy, like I'm never talking to you again. No. But at the same time, for me, it was just like I leveled up from that. It would just be weird to go back to that. And in the whole regards of hiding your feelings, no, I don't actually believe you should hide your feelings. And part of the reasons why I don't believe in hiding your feelings is, like I said, like I've almost died before. I believe that we live once. The only thing we can do to each other is to be genuine. I believe that you like somebody, you can tell the person, but like at the same time, you don't force the person to like you. That's where the line comes. I can be like, yo, there are 3 girls I know, but you're my favorite. Let me be honest. If you like it, or if I like you and you like me back a certain way, we can try and make it work. And if it doesn't work, it is what it is. The most important thing is that we tried. Like nobody has any regrets.
To me, it's a thing of being you. If you are not expressing yourself the way you're meant to express yourself and not communicating properly, right? How do you expect the other person to understand you? So I didn't say go out and start crying or be irrational about how you express yourself, but you need to express yourself, in my opinion, because if you're looking for that level of connection or bonding or understanding from her, she's not going to magically just understand what you don't like, or she might be doing something you don't like and she doesn't even know she's doing something you don't like. But maybe you've shown it with actions, or you'll be passive aggressive, but she's trying to understand exactly what it is and you are not giving her any hints. You just have to tell her directly at that point that, hey, see, I don't like the way you used to wear those short skirts and go outside. Or, it depends on your situation, right? Being vulnerable is the only way you can connect completely with somebody. If you don't put yourself in that vulnerable shoe, you will actually never be able to connect on a
Which leg,
scale.
the left or the right?
The right foot, creep.
I will be hypocritical to say, oh, you should always express your feelings, because it's not something I would do. Like you said, you are the rock of the relationship, whatever. Yes, I understand that. So I wouldn't say express as much, but I would say if it's something that bothers you, I feel like you should be able to like, okay, so what I've realized is that it's the way you express your feelings. I would say that's what is the major issue with ladies, basically. Because you see some boys, they want to express their feelings. They are doing it in like a needy way or like a whining way. If something bothers you, you'll be like, okay, look, this is something that bothers me. I don't like it, blah, 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 blah. You let her know. Because I think that is a more, like we say, masculine way of expressing your feelings. And I feel like if the girl doesn't know how to handle it, because what I've seen from girls most times, not all of them, is when you express yourself that they try to now bring up their own issues and then make themselves the center of attention at that moment in time. I guess it just helps you know who you are even dating, to be honest, because if the person is switching it to their own issues at that point in time, you know that this person is not mature enough to be in a relationship with you. So I believe that, like he said, it's a win-win in both situations if you express it in a mature manner and see how your partner acts. And what I've realized is if you don't express it, you are building up resentment for the person in the relationship, because you are getting annoyed, you are not saying it. Then you realize that every small thing she starts to do, you are like, bro, what is this person doing? Like, you just start to resent your partner. So I don't know, for me it's just like, how would you want your relationship to go down the line? This is someone you will have kids with, that you want your kids to now be brought up in a family where your kids cannot even, they don't know how to express themselves because their father cannot express themselves, or their mom cannot express themselves to each other. And to be honest, me, I just look at it down the line. It's just like, I wouldn't want my child to be going through something and they'll be like, oh, daddy just bottles it up. And then they bottle it up and go make stupid decisions down the line. So I'm just like, to me, it's not just about getting the girl. It's more about who can I build like a long-term family relation and good dynamic with, basically.
Both of you are both meant to be accountable to your actions, to understanding the other person, to communicating your feelings, or stating out a clear problem when there's a problem. Right? If you don't do those things the way they are meant to be done, you would resent the person. And you know the funny part about resenting somebody, they might not even know you're resenting them. So you are just
most likely
dying inside.
Yeah.
Basically. Yeah. You're dying inside. That's why people be like, oh, she was, she's the reason he committed suicide and all that. But man, when you intentionally kept it inside, you were packing all this baggage that you could have easily, if anything, tell her and let go of the chick naturally, so that you heal up, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know if you remember to, take it. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember at the start I said like be yourself as a man, like around it. You should have a balance in terms of like playing with like her emotion. Obviously, you can't control her emotions, but you should be able to like hit all her emotions in different angles. Like you shouldn't just be one kind of way, like. So do you get what I'm saying?
Why are you hitting the emotions for? I'm just asking.
Because that's like women, like you're playing with their emotions. Like when you're getting to meet them, you're like, you get what I'm saying? Like
no, I don't really
like what?
Me personally, I don't get. Maybe
you're saying.
Okay. Yeah.
Let me explain.
Yeah, please, guys.
Explain what I'm saying, bro. Like
he's trying to say that like some ladies are unpredictable. Yeah. They're like,
most
Human
like,
beings are unpredictable. That's not.
yeah, but like
Yeah.
you guys use like some certain emotions, like to like let's say maybe get what you want in a way, and even like the freaking talk of like stoic, I mean stoic, yeah, it's ingrained in almost like every first like male child, yeah. Like when like you're just being like you have to endure pain, you have to endure pain, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't agree
So-
with that actually. It's not.
So you don't
it's not
endure
ingrained.
pain, like
No, it's not ingrained. In it's stoicism is something.
No,
that-
ingrained doesn't mean like it's forced now. Ingrained is just
Yeah,
like
ingrained is
something
No,
that
I don't mean
you're
force. Yeah, I'm talking
Like
about
that.
it's learned. It's something you learn. It's just like any skill. You learn how to.
You know, obviously,
dissect
but it's
things.
like it's like a
Exactly.
passive expectation. If you're like
Yeah.
the firstborn son, you're expected by default to be stoic.
Exactly.
Like you can't do certain things that your little brother would get away with, for example, or your little sister
No, that
would get
also
away with.
applies
So there's this expectation.
for an older sibling. Like if you're an older sibling, you're expected to behave better than the younger sibling.
yeah.
Is that a lie?
But let's just
Yeah,
go
so if
to
you're
the
the oldest
topic.
sibling, you have the
Is that a
highest
lie?
expectations.
Is that a lie?
It's
Like-
not a lie, but like
Yeah,
it's just,
exactly. No,
like,
of course, the society.
I mean,
No, I'm not going to neglect the fact that the society goes a different way when handling men and women. I'm not going to ignore that fact. But what I'm trying to say is these skills are necessary skills that all human beings should have, if anything, because they are the foundations behind understanding people. So if,
Yeah, but I'm trying to
I
really
agree with you.
into the topic. That's what I'm saying. Because like hiding your feelings is why you couldn't keep her, right? That's like the
Yeah.
whole that's the whole thing. So I'm like, okay. The reason I mentioned stoicism was cause like there are certain things like as a guy, right, that you have to like as pain and stuff, you have to endure this, go through like stuff a lot. So also I know you say women also have to go through a lot, I know. Like, but my point is that there are some feelings that you should reserve for the sake of the relationship. That's my own stance. Like, obviously, be yourself and open up and stuff. And I agree with that. But there's just some feelings that you should reserve
So
for the
this is
sake
what
of the
we'll do. This
relationship.
is what we'll do.
Yes.
First off, you mentioned that, so you just list those feelings. Then we'll go around.
Okay.
Like if anybody
Alright.
agrees, first we'll go around with question, right? Do you guys first you list it, then we'll go around. Do you guys agree whether there are some feelings you should keep back, right? And what feelings those are, you know? So TJ, yeah. So what feelings are
So, like, for instance,
just mention one.
being
Then-
being too emotional, for instance, like too soft with little things, like, you know, for instance, like getting angry easily, like over little things, like those kind of things, like you just let them go. Do you get what I'm saying?
No, you said there are
For instance, like
feelings you should hold back.
yeah, that's like a feeling. Like, for instance, if
You will
Like-
still be angry though. Like
you
if
still be angry, yeah, you still be angry, right?
I don't
But
really agree with that.
being like
That's not a.
I'm sorry, can I say something?
Yeah.
What he said, like there are some feelings that you should show, and there are some feelings that you shouldn't show. It's like depending on what it is, why, how, and who depends. Like that's what like would make you show sense. Because let's say the feeling of sadness, like sadness is a feeling, happiness is a feeling, anger is a feeling. There are certain situations, depending on the person, that you should show anger, and depending on what it is as well. Like for example, if I'm on a losing streak in a video game, right, it's anger and sadness. I'm not gonna go and show that to my girlfriend, right? But if somebody insults my girlfriend and I show anger and sadness, I can. So you can't say like, oh, anger. Yeah, exactly. So it depends on like what it is and why you're doing it and to who you're doing it to. So the same thing. If you have a girlfriend who's a streamer and a gamer, and I'm on a losing streak and I show anger and sadness like for that losing to that particular person, it makes perfect sense, right? But if the girl I'm talking to is like a baddie, right, and I'm showing anger and frustration about a video game that I'm like a 7-game losing streak, and I show it to her, like that's when she's gonna like use that feeling against me and be like, why is this guy a crybaby about like video games? But like a gamer girl kind of girlfriend will understand that. So it's not about like every feeling. There are some feelings you show, like, oh, sadness, never show it to any woman. No, that's wrong. There are certain forms of sadness that you should show to like different extremities that you should show, depending on the situation, what it's about, and who is directed at. Yeah. So basically, what I'm trying to say is like every feeling can be shown to every person. You just need to be like smart enough to know who you're sharing it with and why you're sharing it with that person. And another thing I was going to say earlier is that the reason why guys cry to people. The reason why, not even guys, the reason why any human being will go to another person to go and cry to them about something they're feeling is for validation, right? 99% of the time it's for validation. 1% of the time is just like an extreme outburst of emotion that you can't really control. And that person just happened to be there, right? Maybe not 1%, maybe realistic is like 80 to 20, right? So, but for 80% of the time, when we go and cry to someone, we want that person to tell us that it's okay, right? So like, if you're going to cry to someone about a particular thing, and you know that this person is not going to relate or be receptive towards that thing, that's when you would know that that person is not the right person to cry that thing to about, right? So if that's the whole thing that I think TJ was trying to say before, that, oh, there are certain things you should cry about your guys, but you shouldn't cry to about like your long-lasting girl, particularly like wife or whatever. Like, for example, the 7-game losing streak thing, again, if I go cry to my boys, they're gonna feel my pain, you understand? But like the girl is probably not, depending whether she's a girl and all those things. So like that's why I'm just trying to like clear up this mess, because everyone's saying like certain feelings you should share, certain feelings you shouldn't share. You should share every form of feeling with every person, depending on whether that person is the right person to share it with or not. You should be smart enough to know that this person is gonna validate me, or this person is not gonna validate me. If you know that this girl is not gonna validate you because of for the emotion that you're trying to share, you shouldn't share it. That's why some people are gonna, like, let's say you just graduated and you're feeling excitement, you go share that news to your parents, they're gonna be excited with you, because you know that those people are gonna like share in that feeling of enjoyment and happiness for you, right? So let's say you just
I'll do like this.
Exactly. Like,
You wasted your time in uni.
Like, if I'm playing a video game, right? If I'm playing a video game, and the same video game that I've been on a 7-game losing streak, the same video, I'm on a 7-game losing streak, and then I just like clutch the fuck up and I win consistently 8 games, 9 games, 10 games, and I rank up and I'm masterclass, or I get to like a higher rank and stuff, and I'm feeling like I'm him, and I go tell that to my girl, like, yo, let's go, and I go and tell that, my girl's gonna think I'm insane, like why am I sharing that information with her? But if you go and you tell like one of your boys who plays that game with you that you just made this accomplishment, you're gonna expect that same level of excitement, because like they get you. So that's what I'm trying to say. Like, every feeling can be shared to everyone. It exactly. It depends on the person, why, how, what it's about, and whether that person is gonna be receptive to it. So everything that's what I'm saying. Like,
let's go around.
Yeah.
Let's go around.
Just like, I just want to say, like, that's what I was saying. Like, there's some things that you don't share, based on like the context of the relationship. Like, you dig what I'm saying?
We'll get back to that. Let's just go around. Yeah, gentlemen. Yeah. You get the topic, right? I don't need to.
Yeah.
All right. So, what do you think?
What was the only question?
The question is, you said there are certain feelings you don't share to people, right? So, do you agree with that? First off, and if you do, what feelings are these feelings you're talking about? Yeah.
Okay. I would say I have to like agree with like not sharing some particular feelings. Like what she was saying, is like the relationship between like you and the person, depends on like why you show your feelings to the person. You understand? For like for the guys, guy, at the end of the day, if you break up with your girl, who are you going back to? Your guys. Understand? And like there's some feelings that you share with your guys, because you guys have been through so much together, and like even like have like, okay, you have like all guy friends, or you have a lady, like just one lady friend who knows all these guy friends, like everything you tell those guys, it's not everything you tell the
one girl. And that ties into my next point, which means that before you go into any relationship, please sit down and know the kind of babe you want to go for. And then from there, you start saying, okay, I want to go for the body. What does the body want? Stoic guy, macho, this, that, the other. Go for that kind of girl.
Sorry, just to reframe, Ralph, sorry. I'm not to cut you off, but I don't know if you remember the topic, but we're just asking a question. I know I know. I'm just trying to clarify that. So at the end of the day, you just answer the question. But carry on. I'm just making sure.
Yeah. So now, if you want something else completely, like you want to, be free with your babe, then go for that kind of, and be that kind of person that want to do. Now, should you go and what TJ was talking about, crying, the emotion of crying. I think that if it also depends on context.
Sorry, that was not sorry. To reframe again. TJ was talking about, what I asked TJ was, sorry, just to refrain, right? What I asked TJ, we're trying to align the podcast, right? What I asked TJ was, TJ said there are feelings that you would hide and not hide, right? First off, I said, do you agree with that? And if you do, what feelings are those? So that's where we're working with.
Yes. Okay. Fine.
So do you agree with that? If not,
well, almost saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Do I agree with that? Yes. There are actually some feelings that you don't need
remember
to
the
hide.
context, right? You remember the context, like in the same situation, the same what do you call it? We're talking about the same. This guy is just going through something everybody can relate to, right? Why choose this girl over the guy, or why choose the guys over the girl? Yeah.
I don't think everyone will be able to relate to everyone. In my opinion.
No, but I gave a premise though. But I just gave a premise because that's the only way we'll be able to make some sense.
I understand. Yeah. I'm trying to say something. And every like we've been given the example of, the guys versus your girl. Yes, of course there are some things that you can tell the guys that you definitely not tell your babe, because she will not be able to relate to it, and that's why I was saying that I understand the AG completely. But at the same time, it could also go, reverse, obviously. Now, those emotions would definitely be the one of, in my own opinion, with my own experience, because I'm guessing that's what we're here for. Yes, the emotion of crying. If it, he actually said something about crying for validation, which I like, because if you're that kind of person, stop. If you cry for validation, stop immediately, please.
Unless you're a woman, then it actually works. But if you're a guy,
fair enough.
Stop.
Exactly. Because it ties. There's some things in the thing of that this whole stoicism that we're talking about, and that's actually one of those key tenets that I think. Please don't cry for if in the spur of the moment you are you are boxed by so many things, and you are crushed by a lot of things, and then it so happens. Fair enough, we can understand. That's the dynamic that we find ourselves. But if you cry for it, just let's not do that. But you can go on with the next person so that
if enough. So we go.
All right, so I did have some questions earlier actually, but for the sake of time, I'll just answer the question
this
now.
And we'll still get to that, but just
no, like
you agree
so in
with
regards
what he said? Then what feelings would you hide? Like, do you agree? Yeah.
Right. In regards to the stoic perspective of handling a relationship as a man, I actually don't strongly believe in it. And part of the reason is because in the end, stoicism is a human philosophy, and human beings are prone to have flaws or errors in their ways of thinking. Mm-hmm. So, and I'm not here to, preach God or anybody to anybody, but as you know, I strongly believe more following it. I would follow relationships more from like a Christian or godly perspective, because that's what I practice. Mm-hmm. And in that regard, like we saw that even people like Jesus Christ showed emotions, and part of the reason why I take it like that is because as no matter how stoic you are, like religion always brings people back to the point of like you always need the help, or like you need help from a source that is greater than you, which brings us back to the point of like humanity, rather than just being like sitting there and enjoying the feelings. If there are feelings I believe that we should hide, it will really only go back to the one of infidelity. Mm-hmm. And in the sense of like, I strongly believe that a man doesn't have the right not to incriminate himself. Let's just say you went on like a business trip one time, and like, you're in Puerto Rico, seeing some stuff, your body acted some way, one hookup, fine. But like, if you're like cheating on your wife, like as in, that for every Friday, that Antonia must come to the house, like that's where the problem is. And like,
from experience,
you can just
guys.
She said Antonia. That has a specific name.
I'm just giving perspective, but like, if
could you say that again?
If it's more like a, if it's more like a repetitive stuff, like it's becoming a habit and you need help, I'll first tell my wife so that she knows what is happening. And obviously, like it will be hard, but then it will come from the perspective of like, I need your help to stop. or like, I need. It's not everything that I can. It's not everything. How will I describe it? Like, it's not everything that I believe that I can do on my own. Like, if it's like I'm having woman problem, like, see, like, I like you, but I have to cheat.
But Antonia is
I
nice.
have to sit down. Like, I have to sit down and talk to my wife about that. But if it's the point of like I hooked up with some babes over like a weekend trip, I can't really be snitching myself, especially if the truth will not come out.
Yeah.
But if it's a habit where like I know that sooner or later I may have to just come open and clean with my wife.
Okay. All right. Nonso, you're the last person. Then I go.
What's the question again? Are there feelings that...
Yeah, are there feelings that you feel should be hidden from your partner, right? And what are those feelings, if you agree? Do you agree? And what are those feelings, if you agree?
Do I agree that there are feelings?
Like the premise,
like
that,
I said,
in the same, I gave you guys the conditions. Like we have a situation where the friends and the girl both understand these feelings, right? Both understand you to the level that it's something they could understand, right? So why choose this over that? Yeah. So do you agree?
Well, I would say that, like I said before, I think that every feeling can be expressed. You just need to process it and learn how to properly express it in that context. So I don't think that realistically there's any feeling that you should hide from your partner. Now, feelings are not facts. There might be certain things that you should hide from your partner. So for example, if in the past you happen to kill someone, like you shouldn't tell your partner that you did that. That's none of her business. But like if, I don't know, you've recently been very depressed or something, like that you can obviously share. And I can't think of any situation where there would be a specific kind of transient emotion that you cannot intellectualize to a point that you can actually share with another person, especially if that person is as close to you as like a wife. So yeah.
Okay, so I'll go. I listened to all you guys have said. It made sense. Some didn't, but yeah. So I wrote down some things because to Ihechi said something about sorry, you guys came off. I can't remember who exactly, but you made a point that your friends are people you've bonded with over a longer period of time compared to your wife, right, or your partner, right? So my question was going to be, those friends were not born with the ability to understand you, right? You were vulnerable with them to a good degree. That's why they understand you. You gave them the opportunity to understand you, because they won't just wake up and understand, oh, this is some likes when his boxers are upside down or something like that. You get me? So you gave them the... I don't tell my friends any of that.
Let's continue, man.
You gave them the opportunity to... you gave them the opportunity to understand you. Like, you gave them the room to... You gave them that opportunity to see you vulnerable, right? And that helped you filter which is your friend and which is not. So why, in the context of your partner, should that be different? Because at the end of the day, if you always go back to your friends when you're crying, right, she would never know you as somebody that cries in the first place. So over the course of years of time, right, all of a sudden you burst into tears. She's like, who is this guy? Of course she's going to be confused. Like, who is this guy? Why is this guy crying? This guy never cries, right? Of course she will clearly sense that, okay, this must be like a very serious thing. But then again, depending on the amount of time you spent with the girl, right, it gets to a certain point where you definitely have to be vulnerable in in almost any situation where you can be vulnerable in, because that is your partner, right? So my question is, why would you want a partner you're not going to give the opportunity to get to connect with you on that level? Because if you go to the boys every time to tell the boys stuff you feel she can't handle, how is she ever going to handle it? Or are you saying you as a man that understood, oh, this is the girl I'm going to get with a girl that I know can never understand me, right? So all I'm going to do is just use her for, or I don't know, whatever situation, because I really don't get the point of getting a girl getting with anybody as a partner in marriage when you could easily live on your own if you feel you're so strong, right? You could easily feel live on your own and share these feelings with the friends you already have. So why not bring this person in, let the person come into you, like get to know you, by allowing them the opportunity to know you, right? Why not do that instead of, hiding it and choosing, oh, I'll just stay with my friends because my friends are more comfortable. I don't know how she's going to react to this, and I'm scared because my whole value is placed upon how she reacts to this. So I don't know. That's my question now for you guys. Well,
so I think that personally, to answer your question, it all boils down to the stoicism thing that if we embrace, sooner or later we'll always have is like bullet holes. And if you keep going through a relationship, like for example, where okay, you just got fired in the office, you came back, stone-faced, you ate your bread, you fried your eggs, ate your breakfast, went to bed like nothing happened, and she sees that, okay, go ahead.
I say 100.
Okay, and no, yeah. So basically, like, if you're stoic in situations, like, sooner or later, like, let's just say the one big bullet that really punctures your armor happens, and you start crying. She's going to be like, where is this coming from? Or like, if she doesn't like you, she'll be like, who did I marry? But I also strongly believe that all has to do with stoicism. And like I said, my own solution or like practical approach to that is understanding that we're all human beings, and we're realizing that like we always need that like extra help or support that not everything in our humanity can provide for, which is why we always bring the religious aspect up,
Good enough.
Yeah.
I was gonna just touch up on that, like this one, because when you said bring the religious aspect up, like something I wrote down, you said is Ifena, right? You said Jesus Christ showed emotions, like I think you said Jesus Christ showed emotions, like, because I think the very important part is actually, like as you said, having a relationship with God, like as a man, or like because you have to like have that, you have to have that good relationship with, like, strong relationship with God, and then from there everything will be good, like your whole stoicism, expressing yourself and all that kind of stuff.
How would your girl ever get to know you, right? Get to understand you on a level where she is like your friend, right? Like, because you gave your friends the opportunity to get to that position. Why say, oh, I'm just going to stick to my friends, but still get with this girl, when you could just live on your own and not get the girl? So first off, why would you do that? Second off, so what is now the point of getting the girl?
Yeah, so I just think, as everyone has said, it's just the dynamic of the friendship. Like, we've talked about this, like,
no, I'm talking about me. I'm talking about his spouse.
I know, if that's your friend, right? He's also a friend, so that's what I'm saying. It's a different kind of.
I'm just making it clear, like, this is a spouse, not just a friend you're not married to.
I know, but your spouse should be your friend. That's what I'm saying.
I get that, but this is a spouse, so I prefer you, like, just say spouse, so that it's clear. Because
spouse.
Friend is too open, like, it's too vague.
General,
it's too vague.
So why are you saying that now? Like,
no, because we are talking about a long-term partner here. That's what's more, because the
long-term partner should be your friend, though. Like,
oh my goodness, we get that.
That's what you say.
When you say friend, how do we demarcate who you're talking about? Because the boys are also your friends.
Yeah, hold on. I'm still, like, I'm explaining something. Like, just hold on. So my point was that your friend, like your spouse, that is supposed to be like your friend, there's a different dynamic to that friendship. That's my point. Do you get, like, because so in relation to how do you connect to someone that you're supposed to be on a long term, like, the dynamic of the friendship or the relationship is different to the dynamic or relationship with other people. So there's a, like,
of course you don't sleep with your boys, like, of course,
exactly. So there's a different connection there. There's a different connection. My point was that your friend, like your spouse, that is supposed to be like your friend, there's a different dynamic to that friendship. That's my point. Do you get, like, because so in relation to how do you connect to someone that you're supposed to be on a long term, like, the dynamic of the friendship or the relationship is different to the dynamic or relationship with other people. So there's a, like,
of course you don't sleep with your boys, like, of course,
exactly. So there's a different connection there. There's a different connection there. So you should be able to, like, ascertain, like,
now we're talking about your wife. We're talking about your wife here, right? We're talking about your wife. So
but
we can go around. Before
I want to quote scripture. Can I quote scripture real quick? I know it doesn't, like.
And also,
I just want to quote
I know we're all Christians here. We're all Christians, and we all believe in God. Actually, we are not all Christians. My cousin is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
Christian,
but-
right?
But no, and also is a Muslim. But we all believe in God. We all believe in God. And but I would
Yes,
like to
of
take
course.
things out of that context in the sense of let's just analyze it logically before we start, using our beliefs and whatnot.
I have a
Wait,
very
sorry, but before you analyze marriage
God.
logic, you have to remember that it's an institution that was
I
never provided by a
understand.
human.
I understand that.
What was an institution? Like what?
Wait, what institution are you talking?
Marriage is an institution.
I'm saying marriage is
Oh,
an
marriage.
institution that was not provided by humans.
yeah.
Who
Like,
says-
Exactly.
so you can't
Yeah,
just-
by God.
No, but that's
No,
the
it's by
thing now. It's
God
not
now, like-
legitimized. It's not legitimized by humans, like marriage as an
It's
institution.
never there.
What was the reason like you brought like why did you
Why did I
title
bring
that? Yeah, why did you
Why I
title
brought
this?
it up because
Like what?
me as an individual, right? Every single time I was clear cut, and I always am, right? Because why I was comparing and contrasting is because I have friends that will say no when I ask them for advice, like, yo, look, like this chick is this, like I don't
Stay
understand
hard,
what's
stay hard.
going on. I don't get what's happening.
yeah.
Yeah, you get me. So they will be like, some of them will come from the perspective of, don't let her know about this, don't let her know about that, because this will lead to that will lead to this, right? And me, every time every time I approach it from my own perspective, from my own understanding of how you relate with human beings in general, right? If you want something to change, right? First off, you have to directly hit on the source of the pain, right? So if the woman is the problem, or if you feel she's doing something you don't like, right? Why would I, suck it up and say, oh, don't worry, I won't let her know what she's saying gets to me, right? So I'll hide it. And inside, I because maybe this is not you guys, right? When you try to play tough, right? At the end of the day, you're not tough. Like when I block, I don't know about you guys, but if I block someone now, right now, like let's say I was talking to this girl, I liked this girl so much, but I'm like, this girl is not giving me the energy I want. This girl is just not resonating on that energy. And let's say I did not tell her about this. I didn't tell her that, this thing she's doing is a red flag.
Annoying.
I didn't point it out, right?
Yeah.
And then I go ahead and block this girl, right? 10 times out of 10, in fact 11 times out of
Unblock
10,
them.
I will unblock them every single time. Why? Because there is this thing about 100% I didn't give, right? In that situation,
no
I didn't give
closure.
my 100. Yeah, I didn't give my 100% in this situation. So I will feel guilty that, what if she didn't even know this happened? Because at the end of the day, you come to the conclusion, if you're smart enough, that this girl might not even know what happened, and this girl might have you clearly see like, she tried to call you here, you now blocked her there, so she was also trying to reach back to you. So you start getting this like, guilty feeling that low key, maybe it's just me, but that is the whole. Sorry. Just let me. That's the whole premise as to why I asked the question, because every single time I was clear cut with anything I didn't understand about the girl, right? And I told her like, or anything she did that went or that trigger me or piss me off or irritate me. Anytime I told her directly that, look, this is bad. There were two outcomes. Is either she changes and becomes better, understands that this Uzom doesn't like this stuff, right? And will reduce or try her best to not do it, right? Which means that's going in the positive direction. Or still in the positive direction, she was like, this guy is why is this guy finding this way? This is me. If you don't like me the way I am, then I'm going to leave. And if she leaves, I'm still in it's still a positive thing, because I've removed someone had left my life that was a burden. Someone was a burden and left my life. So no burden on me anymore. So I don't need to stress about the fact that, every time someone is doing something I do not like and I'm trying to consider this person as a partner. Right. So that's just
the reason I asked the question was just sorry, Fenal. I just want to say the reason I asked the question was just because like the way like the thing is phrases, hiding your feelings why you couldn't keep her. It sounds like you left because you couldn't like express yourself.
Emotional.
Yes.
That's what I was just asking. Yeah.
Because you were too unemotional. Yeah.
You were.
So in the end, like,
you could phrase it like that. So she left because you didn't connect. You didn't try to connect with her. That's what.
this is what I'm going to say. This is really what I'm going to
So
say.
yeah, we'll go around. You guys we'll give our last.
Let me just wrap up. Sorry, but if you're going to the point of like, you had a girl and she pissed you off and you blocked her and all this. Firstly, like that's not even manly, and I don't even think that the
I was going
whole
to say that
stoicism thing should even come into question because you treated the whole issue like a child.
Exactly.
In the sense of like
But this is advice you get from guys every day, bro.
No, listen.
Nah, you shouldn't even block a girl. Like, why are you blocking? Unless, like,
you don't know the amount of people that have advised me to block.
This is my own stuff. Because, like, in the end, that's poor
let's one mark at a time.
In the end, that's poor communication. Like, you didn't express yourself properly, and at the same time, you're expecting a different result. From where? Secondly, like, literally, like, and then secondly, like, the whole thing of it all boils down to the generation too we live in now. Everybody is trying to date God in the sense of like, we're all trying to date a perfect person and it is never going to be possible. Let's just say I love this girl so much. Her body right, her mentality is right, but she's small in the mind. Will I beat her? Will I be beating my wife, or will I be upset with my wife because you know she does that one thing? Like, I'm not saying that, you know, some people it might be off for them or sometimes it might not be, but in the end, like, people are still going to be people. Everybody will do something that annoys you, which is it all boils down to the communication aspect. If you can't express yourself properly, not like shout at your wife and beat your wife, but if you can't express yourself properly, like, the whole nothing is ever going to work. Like, no stoicism, no God, nothing will ever propel your relationship to the right direction, and that's just because like we don't have the skills to like grow interpersonal relationships.
What I'm trying to say is, at the end of the day, it all starts with expressing those feelings from the onset. Like, it's not something you just wake up and, you know, expect your partner to understand. That's what I was trying to say. So, yeah, Ralph, you go. Any, you know, we're just giving closing remarks, basically.
That was another thing I put down there. You know, you when I was saying before that if your mindset is saying, okay, I want a body, you know, you have to act like a body to get the body of that.
Supply and demand. Yeah.
Exactly. If you want someone that you actually want to build something with, try and get someone, you know, date, find the person you want, get that kind of person. But then in all things communicative, once you cry in front of your woman, like how come that you like think like what do you think will happen? I think that could be something man should be like, okay, you know, babe, sit down, we'll talk this over, or you think it will just blow over without her thinking about it. I'm actually just curious because the one time I gave that I have cried, I kind of had the feeling that this is more or less going to be the downfall of.
So I think one assumption that's been made throughout by a lot of us here is that showing emotions equates to crying. So it equates to you having random outbursts of emotions. Right. And I think, like I said before, this was like one of the first things that I said. You're supposed to actually learn how to process your emotions. You know, you can show your emotions without just letting them bubble out uncontrollably. And that's something I think people in general need to learn to be able to do, but especially as a man, if you want to maintain a certain frame of yourself, if you want to actually, in a sense, adapt yourself to the reality that you find yourself in, you need to learn to have emotions, process them, and then find an outlet for them, which is justifiable based on, like, you know, your rationalization. And also, like I just hinted to, you need to learn to operate within a certain... In reality, emotions are highlighting things which are bubbling under the surface. And I think it would be much better if people found out, like, what issue is actually causing these emotions and how am I going to fix this, as opposed to how am I going to express myself. Because in the end, to be honest, it goes back to, like, the question Raphael asked, what is crying really going to do? Because a lot of the time, people cry because they want something solved. But, like, if you lost your job and you cry, you're still jobless. So, like, you didn't fix anything. So in the end, you actually need to find a path to get the solution that you desire, as opposed to just looking for ways to make yourself feel heard or feel expressed. Because in the end, that feels nice and all, but it doesn't really change much about your current situation. So
to your point, at the end of the day, emotions, I don't think there's anybody on this earth that lives or is motivated for any reason without emotion. The emotion of being broke, it makes you want to walk. What outcome will lead to a better result? You letting her know about, you know, whatever the problem is in your life, or depending on the context, right? That's about any problem that comes up. You letting her know about any problem that you're facing, right? This is somebody you sleep with, this is someone you wake up with, right? Or you not. Which context will lead to a better outcome at the end of the day?
Isn't that? I think that depends on
what she does. The money is not coming, so it's the money that would actually, you get what I'm saying, like, because you're supposed to be getting the money from the job. So no matter what she does, at the end of the day, the money is still not coming in. So that will actually make you like. That can make
depressed.
That can make
that will
men
make
depressed.
her. We're talking about her leaving. Me, after carrying her along the way, explain the situation, she is understanding, and we are together.
She has it.
Wait,
her time is ticking.
No, there's
like,
no time. There's no time. Her time is ticking when you don't tell her anything. Can leave you. The possibility of her leaving you decreases the more you carry her along in the process.
I disagree because at the end of the day, there is a what's it called? It's like a transaction. Like, let's just keep it real. Like marriage, like there's something she's getting from you. There's something you're getting from. If she's not giving you sex, for instance, like no matter how much she talks to you and says, "Oh baby, I'll give you sex," like you're not going to like. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, it's just come on. Like let's just be like
most girls, all girls, want to know that you can handle things, and every girl do wants like a person who's like very reliable, is able to like take care of any situation. Most girls are looking for like someone like protection, security, all those kind of things. Exactly. But there are certain things that will come up, and he won't necessarily go and talk to his wife about it. He would rather talk to his boys and the Avengers, or he would rather talk to the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or something like that. Right? It doesn't necessarily mean he doesn't trust his wife or he doesn't love his wife. It's just that there are certain conditions that call for certain people to hear of it, and that does not include your wife, even though your wife is the most important person to you. That's just how it is.
But in that context, can she handle it though? Because I feel like that is the underlying thing. Can she be able to help you in that situation? It's just you don't need to tell her everything. I didn't say tell her everything. I'm saying she should be capable of being told everything. That's what I'm saying. You should pick somebody that is capable of being told any problem you're going through as a wife. That's what I'm saying. I didn't say you should always tell her, like you said. Right, you might have your boys at your disposal immediately, and you feel they'll give you like what you want. Yeah, that's fine. But
there was like a small discussion about like Adam and Eve and whether they were married or not, and all those things. And like my take, like I'm not trying to like start the whole argument or anything. I'm just going to give my opinion, which is that they were, and whether or not it was explicitly said in the Bible, or whether you're looking for like literal evidence of it being said in the Bible for it to be disproved, is like your own thing, But like they were. Those who are Christians know they were, So those who know, basically.
You basically can't say why, but you're just saying but
you know.
No, like
wait. So are you basically saying that every human is the result of an illegitimate relationship? That's what you're saying?
Every human is a result of an.
Because if it's not married, it's illegitimate.
You don't need to be married to have offspring.
Yeah, but you need to be married to have legitimate offspring.
What do you mean legitimate offspring? Like if
you have a child's
DNA, that's what's legitimately your child.
Wait now, if you have a child out of wedlock.
I think it's on the woman's part. I don't think it's a good trait that you saw your guy crying and you left him. That is not a good trait. That's the sign of a bad wife. That's a bad woman. That's a woman that has not gone through, a woman that does not understand how to process emotions from her husband, because most of them will say, let him be emotional, then you see the guy cry and you leave the guy, right? So all you wanted to do was just, in that situation, that woman did not want her husband to necessarily have that emotional communication with her, or that, fill in that gap she was talking about. She just wanted proof that this guy is a human being and he can cry like me. So like she can mess with you and all that. That is a manipulative woman. But a proper human being, whether man or woman, in any situation where someone is low, should never come and start stepping on the guy's dead, but like, you're on the ground now, you get me? So you should always root for that. What do you call it? You should always work towards getting a better outcome, regardless of the situation. Leaving the guy is not a better. It won't better the situation between you guys, and you hiding your feelings from the girl will not better the situation between you guys, because we're still talking about the relationship. So,
do you know how long this podcast was?
It was at least
2 hours,
3 hours.